If you tune into this podcast and you're in a position where you're not happy with the way you look, the way you feel, or the way your body actually reflects yourself in the world as a position in society, then this podcast can be for you. And because we're going to go through some very easy, simple strategies you can use, and I'm going to break this down in terms of a couple of very simple things you can execute, take away, and make this very simple. Now, the first reason most people fail in terms of fitness, the same reason they fail in every single area of their life. They lack consistency and they lack discipline. Now, one of the easiest ways you can actually be successful with this is just build your fitness routine into your lifestyle. Now, one of the huge mistakes I see most people making is they try and make a routine that's completely unrealistic and way too much too quickly. The simple thing you need to do when it comes to actually building a fitness routine for you that's going to get results, and most importantly, you actually can stick to and enjoy, is making it realistic and actually escalating things up as you go. So one of the big mistakes a lot of people make is when they come into starting to want to lose body fat or build muscle, they want to fucking throw the kitchen sink at it. They want to do absolutely everything straight away. They want to do true weight training sessions a day. They want to do 50 million steps a day. They want to do HIIT workouts. They want to do keto. They want to do X, Y, Z. It's like, no, just no. You don't need to do this yet. What you want to do is you want to start with as little as possible at the beginning, get as much as you can from that, and then escalate things out. So depending where you're at, the minimum I'd recommend for most people is 3 to 4 weight training sessions a week. Very, very simple. You could do a full body training session. You could do push-pull legs training sessions. You could do upper body, lower body training sessions. Quite frankly, it doesn't really fucking matter. Just do some weight training, some cardiovascular work, whatever you like to some degree, if you're new to this. The second thing I would say is that you actually need to focus on being consistent with your daily activity. Now, one of the best things you can do to do this and not to get obsessed with it is actually tracking your sleep and your steps using something like an Oura ring. So the huge thing you do with this, it gives you some consistency to see when you haven't actually done many steps that day, you've not walked around much, you've been sitting at a desk all day, and you actually need to get some movement in. Because the easiest way for you to lose more body fat is to move, whether that's you're cleaning house, cleaning car, playing with your kids, whatever it might be. Now, a bonus tip I would give to this, if you want to get more movement in, is try and find a hobby you enjoy, which is active. So I'm currently in Marbella in Spain. One of the great things you can do here, as well in Dubai to prefer, is play paddle. Paddle is a great sport. You run around loads, get loads of steps in, burn loads of calories, and it doesn't really feel like exercise. If you're also inherently competitive like I am, it's a good way you can actually release some of that competitive edge. And this is how simple it can be in terms of losing weight. Let's say you do some paddle, you do some walking, you do weight training sessions a week, and you just keep a vague idea in terms of how many calories you're eating. Let's say you're trying to eat 2,200 calories a day, and you're roughly eating the same thing every single day, and you see you're losing weight with that. What do you need to do at that point? Absolutely fucking nothing. You just keep doing the exact thing that's working to the point where it then starts to stall and stop, and that's when you need to make a change. Now, what most people do is they do too much at the beginning. They eat like a farmhouse, and then what they do is they do like as much cardio as a marathon runner, and they have nowhere to go. They can't bring the calories down, they can't train more, their body's respectfully fucked and tired, and they're in a no-go zone. And the reality is you want your body in like a peak performance zone where it actually can like work correctly for you by having the right amount of fuel coming in, but still being in a deficit. Now, the third prong part of this, if you talk about the basics of training nutrition, is actually going to be sleep. So ideally you want to be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Avoid caffeine within 6 to 7 hours of going to sleep. And I would try and limit caffeine, although I'm not a great advocate of this personally, to probably under 600 to 800 milligrams a day, because this can have a knock-on effect later into the day in terms of your ability to sleep. In particular, if you're someone who's quite highly strung, this can cause a lot of problems in terms of having your cortisol, fat storage hormone, increase. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and you get, when more cortisol you have, the more likely you are going to be in terms of storing body fat. So this is why you often see, for example, a lot of the best bodybuilders in the world tend to be super chilled out, because they tend to be very like mellow, not super type A, not super fucking on it all the time, because those people tend to have very high levels of cortisol. And this is where you have to understand how your body works and how your nervous system works. So you have the sympathetic nervous system and you have the parasympathetic nervous system, and we want to flip between these two states, which is our fight or flight state and our rest and relax state. Now, for our body to digest and assimilate food correctly the way we want, we need to be in the relaxed state. What happens with a lot of people is they're constantly stressed, they're eating shit food, and that's why they get a lot of digestive issues and they get what's called leaky gut. And this is within your ability to control when you start to become aware and understand some of these things. And the most powerful superpower you can actually have is awareness. How does certain type of training make you feel? How does certain type of food food make you feel? How does a certain type of supplement make you feel? How do you feel today? And you come about this by actually using reflective thinking. Now, most people actually don't need to spend any time to like ask themselves questions about their life. Where do I want to go? Where am I going right now? Is the path I'm on the one that actually is going to take me to happiness and where I want to be? And if you look at that from a fitness perspective, are you actually eating the food you should be doing, getting the rest you should be, prioritizing looking after yourself? Because for you to be the best you can be for others, you have to be selfish to be selfless and put yourself first. But not enough people do this. And this is why we see in a society at the moment right now a crazy state where there's so many people in particular like with the dad bod mentality who completely fucking failed themselves. Like if you have a dad bod, you failed the younger version of yourself, because when you were a child you didn't want to have a beer gut and eat Domino's pizza the weekend. You wanted to be like Superman or Batman. That's a fact. If you disagree with that, you're more than welcome, but it's a reality. And if you have children right now and you're out of shape and you're overweight and you have bad habits, shame on you, because that bad habit is going to push onto your children, onto the next generation. And that's something you can control by the conscious choices of what you put in your mouth every day and the exercise you do. So the big thing as I finish up with this podcast is think about the choices you make for yourself and the choices that are going to knock on to the people around you, and how simple getting in shape really is. If you want help to do this and you don't know how to do this and you're in the position right now where you've been stuck for a while, you can book a free coaching call with one of our head coaches by hitting the link below, and we'll walk you through the process of how you achieve results. And if we think you're a good fit to work with us, we'll invite you to work with us. If we don't, then we won't. We only work with selected people. If you took value from the podcast, make sure you smash the like button, and we'll see you next episode very soon.